Stephanie Milky here, aka KetoMOM, or often called mom, sis, Steffi, daughter, wife, aunt, and friend. Just like many of you, I carry a lot of titles. My favorite title is mom. I should probably say wife, which takes a lot of my time. But let's be honest, if you want to do something and do it well, you will make the time for it. Commitment is hard because we find ourselves overcommitted, but when you practice prioritizing, you will find out what is actually important and what you can let go. With the KetoMOM podcast, you will learn together how to manage our time, commit to the most important things in life, and I will equip you with the tools you need to feel qualified each step of the way. My name is Stephanie Milky, and welcome to the KetoMOM Secrets podcast. Welcome to the KetoMOM page. My name is Stephanie. This is my husband, Steve. We are going through the book called The Power to Change. If you have not seen any of these, we've been going through them for a week. We've been going through this book for a week to help you with your mindset because we believe it's important. I like to tell people, listen, this page will give you things that you want, recipes and keto tips, and we talk about different hacks to help you on your journey and lots of different things like how much water to drink and drink ketones. They're a great tool. Like we talk about a lot of things that people go, yeah, that's going to help me, right?
For sure.
But what we think and truly feel like is one of the most important things is to be able to understand the power of your thinking. So it might not be what you want, but 100% what you need. That's why we talk about this. So at any point in time, you can go to ketomomsecrets.com. You can click on book club. You can go watch all of the past lives. You can scroll through the page or just go to ketomomsecrets.com for recipes, how to get started, why I drink ketones. You can click on book club and go through any books that we've done in the past. Or you can just tune in here. If you have the book, great. If you don't have the book, we're going to talk through it with you.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So after listening to that kind of introduction, who does not want to dive in?
Yes.
So where are you tuning in from? How are you listening? If you're not plugged into the other platforms, just know that you can find KetoMOM pretty much everywhere. Hey, also shout out and appreciation to all the people who've been leaving 5-star reviews on your podcast.
Yeah, I think we're giving prizes, right?
Pretty awesome. Yes, we'll be giving prizes. Let's give them away on Friday. Friday is just a fun day.
Right.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Friday podcast reviews.
Where do they find the podcast?
You just go to Spotify or you can go to Apple Podcasts. It's on Google. It's in the Play Store. Like it's all over the place. Just look for KetoMOM Secrets.
Yeah.
You will find it.
You can listen to it.
Listen to the episodes. If
for
you're
Drive
on the go.
Time University.
There you go.
I love it. All right. So good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. And we're diving into this. This chapter is called Start With Who. And Craig Groeschel talks about how he gives everybody nicknames. We're not going to read the stories to you, but what we're going to do is help walk you through this.
What nickname would you give me?
Oh, that's a good question. Handsome hunk.
Oh, I like it. I'll take it.
He talks about how he gives people nicknames. And then he ties it biblically and he says, God gave people nicknames. Or changed their name to help them understand who they really were, to help them with their identity. And so what he said is, God changed people's names in the Bible. There was tons of stories he walked through. We're not going to read them to you because he knew who they truly were, who they were becoming, and what they needed to do. And so I highlighted a couple of things, but he says, God changed their names because changing starts with your identity. You do what you do because of what you think of you. He goes, for them to do what they needed to do, they first had to think the right things about themselves. And that's what we've been talking about.
So good.
In order for you to change the habits or the things that you're wanting to change in your life, whether it's financial, relationships, your health, and any other area of your life, we have to start thinking about you and your identity, how you see yourself. Otherwise, things are not going to change long term. And I started this because I really, really liked it.
Well, we've talked about how behavior modification doesn't really work.
Right.
And how many of you've attempted, you've tried, you've bought the outfit, you've got the food, like you've set up all the right specific habits.
Right.
Because what you were attempting to do was to modify a behavior. But this point right here is what it's all about.
He says, because your identity drives your behavior, if you do not start with your identity, any behavior change you make won't last. That's why maybe you've been dealing with eating food for so long, or I've tried eating healthy. I've done all of the diets. I've done all of the things.
Right.
Nothing has worked. Well, guess what? Let's do something a little different and work on your identity and how you see yourself. This chapter is done after today, and we dive into chapter 2.0, and it starts with training and not trying, and it's really going to get specific on habits. You might be going, listen, the last 6 lives seem like they're all the same, but if you don't understand the identity part, then the rest of it's not going to work.
It's true. It's the flip that has switched everything for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was able to fully walk into Stephanie's surprise 40th birthday party with, imagine like all of her favorite treats of the things that she's liked over the course of 40 years. And for the first time in my life, I can say this.
I did not make any of it.
It was all a surprise. She didn't even know it was happening.
It was so great.
But it was the first time ever because I knew who I am. I was able to make the right decisions. It wasn't like a behavior modification of where I have to like snap myself with a wristband or do something silly to be able to change that behavior. I walked into the party fully knowing who I am and what I was about. And when you know who you are, you know what to do.
And I don't want you to mishear this. This isn't about not going to a birthday party and having treats. That's a completely different conversation. That's a completely different. This isn't about him not ever having something. This is about something he's been working on for years and years and years and years that pertains to his own identity of why he's changing things right now.
For
right?
sure.
Because some people might go, well, I went to a birthday party and had a piece of cake. That's not the conversation.
The piece of cake may not even impact you.
Right.
It may not, like when Stephanie has a treat, it's not like she's held captive
right.
by I don't even know what you ate that night, but it wasn't even a big deal because food doesn't have the effect on Stephanie like it does for me. And that's why this is why this book is so powerful, because each and every one of us, we're on a different journey. We have these different mountains. We have these different challenges. We have these different ideas and these different dreams. And that's what makes life a beautiful thing, is a community is made up of a whole bunch of different temperaments, talents, and convictions. So think about it with where you're at in your life. What are those things that you want to start doing? What are those things that you want to stop doing? That's what we're talking about here.
So
and if you can't get the identification, if you can't identify the who you are, all of the things that you're going to try in the future, like the behavior modification doesn't work.
Right.
The research shows it. From a spiritual truth, it shows it.
Right.
So that's why we keep hammering this home, because if you can identify the who before the do, I'm letting you know your life will become better.
It's so good. So he gave some examples. He gave some examples of somebody that wanted to stop gossiping. He gave some examples of somebody that wanted to fix their marriage. I'm actually going to read you the last example because I thought it was so powerful in how he explained it. He goes, here's an example. Let's say that you smoke and you decided to quit. He goes, you're on a break at your job and a coworker says, hey, do you want a cig? Do you want a cigarette? This is really good. He goes, what are you likely to say? No, thanks. I'm trying to quit. What does that communicate? I'm a smoker who is trying to do something else. That change won't last. It's behavior modification, not based on identity or transformation. Here's what he said. He goes, so what should you say? No, thanks. I don't smoke. That could lead you to victory. Why? Because it starts with your identity. You've made it about you and not just the action. He goes, regardless of your past behaviors, you are saying that you are not a smoker. Does that make sense? Like, no, I'm trying to quit is way different than going, no, I'm not a smoker. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal. And you can put that in any area of your life. No, I'm trying to. No, I am.
Right.
And you fill in the blank with who you are, who you're becoming, who you're wanting your future self to be.
All right. Is this resonating? This is resonating. Let's see some hearts. Let's see some thumbs. Let's see some light bulb emojis. It's this little shift.
It's a little shift.
It's a little shift.
Okay. I like this part too. He goes, if future you is your hero, and you might go, I'm not my hero. Listen, you can be a hero to yourself, because remember, when you are the best version of you, you overflow into other people. Right? So if you're a mom or a dad or a boss or an employee or a sister or a friend, like, you being the best version of you isn't selfish, because you're going to change the environments and the people around you. Right. When you get better, everything else around you gets better. When you get worse, it's the same thing. Right?
So good.
So
it's interesting. Yeah. There was a comment that I just saw from Denise, and I don't know the details of what she's talking about, but she was delivered some news. And because of the news, it's basically forcing her into a new identity. And so think about this. I've got friends who I really do care about, but they don't typically make the shift. They don't make the change until they get some type of news, or their back is against the wall.
Yep.
Or even some, as silly as this may be, like you have the dream to become debt free, but the Amazon buy now button truly has you like in its grips.
It's a thing. It's stuff like that, whether it's smoking or eating chocolate or buying something, it creates a feeling in your body that if that's an overwhelming addiction or problem, it needs to be faced with, but not by this behavior modification, but but figuring out who you are and who you want to become.
And the reason why is because think of your future self as a hero. You are. Like, there's greatness in you because greatness made you. And the reason why we keep talking about this is because our heart is that you're not next year at this time, when she's 41 and still super full of wisdom and she can do whatever she wants.
Even more.
We don't want you to be stuck in the same spot. Like, we want to see you have breakthrough. We want to see you step into the best version of yourself.
It's so good.
That's why this is so important.
Well, and why he takes a longer chapter to help you at least get some type of golden nugget to realize, oh my goodness, this is super important.
For sure.
He says, if future you is your hero, what quality should future you possess? What do you want to become? Do you want to be debt-free? Do you want to be an irrational generosity, a godly spouse, an involved parent, healthy in a way that honors God, pure in mind and heart, addiction-free, respected, faithful, a selfless servant? It's time to change. But that's going to be you digging in and actually doing these action steps. If you have the book, do them. Steve actually went above and beyond and got the workbook, and he's doing it and he's filling it out. And we're having conversations about it. And he's putting himself in the future self when he's making decisions so that he makes the right decision. Right?
There it is.
Right?
There it is.
Do you want to go over the action step?
All right. So the exercise for today is complete this open-ended sentence with true aspects of your life. All right. So, I would encourage you, write this down. Leaders are learners, take notes. But the question is, if today I lost blank, I would feel totally lost and not know what to do. So here are some examples. So if you lost a job, money, social status, a talent, or a skill, you'd feel completely lost and not know what to do. What would that be? The second part to it is describe how each aspect of your life you just wrote down is connected to who you are. It's a part of your identity and not just what you do. Is this making sense? All right. And the third part is, how can you turn each one from do to who? How can you surrender that aspect of your life to the point to where if God took it away, you'd still be okay? So here's an example. Should I use? Yeah, I'll just go through the example.
And then I'll
here's
share
the
an
example.
Yeah.
I feel like my career has become who I am, not just what I do, but if I let go of it, could no longer, but if I let go or could no longer do that work, I would still be a child of God, still have my life, still have my calling, still have my family. I would still have the most important things in my life.
I actually think that's super powerful because both of us know people that, and they might be a little bit older, and I've got a couple people specifically in mind who put their heart and soul into their career and then it was taken away, or a position that they had was taken away. And for a while, and they're still working on it, completely destroyed their identity in themselves because that was their life and they didn't see anything outside of that. And so this isn't even finding your identity in your job. It's truly finding the gifts and talents and the things that you're called to do.
That's good.
Not just, let me give you this example. If for some reason social media shut down and the KetoMOM page, it might seem so silly, but for years and years ago, there was different things that I was able to do on the KetoMOM page. People might go, oh my goodness, you have 1 million people. But do I really? Because social media is quite funny. And if it was taken away, would it wreck me if it was shut down, taken away? And at one point in time, a few years ago, I was so wrapped up in it that I really thought this couldn't get taken away. And today I would say 100%. If for some reason we didn't have the page, it does not identify who I am. I know it sounds silly, but it really was. Does that make sense?
It is. Yeah, for sure.
I'm not trying to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Like there were times where we were able to do certain things or create content for certain pages, and then that was taken away. It's been like, I feel like God humbles you in certain areas to be like, hey, listen, you're more than that, or you're more than that. You need to figure out who you are becoming, the things and gifts and talents I've given you to do. I don't know. It just was a thought that came in my mind.
Good. Should I share with them the principle and we'll wrap this?
Yes, it's a
we'll
shorter one.
All right. So principle 7 is to change. You need to think the right thing about yourself, to know your true identity and start your identity with who, not do. So you all got that? If you got that, put it in the comments down below. It all starts with the who, not the do. So I like this. Can I read the verse to him?
Yeah.
So this comes out of Philippians. I'm certain that God, who began the good work within you, will continue his work until it is fully finished. And on that day when Christ Jesus returns.
So good.
It's pretty cool to think that there's greatness inside of you. And so I would just encourage you to take this seriously and start just, we talked about the journal beforehand. We talked about writing down maybe some of those thoughts that you say about yourself or the things that you hear other people say about you. It's about taking those thoughts captive, and it's about replacing them with the truth of who you are and who you're becoming. It's about your future self stepping into the hero that you are. Like, be your biggest cheerleader, be your biggest champion. If you've got children, speak life into them. If you're married, speak life into your spouse. The craziest thing is so often it's easy. Well, I'm not getting this and I'm not getting that. I'm not getting this. So you're not fulfilling my fill in the blank, whatever it may be. But what happens if today could be the day you start shifting and you start speaking and you start giving to those areas that you want to start seeing the fruit come back into your life?
Right.
When that happens, things change, and things change for the better.
I want you to not tune out if you feel like this has been a lot about who and not the do, because we're diving into topics of the things about goals, trying versus training. Discipline is not a dirty word. Your habits and a plot twist. Training. We're going to talk about changing your life, changing your habits. So it's going to give you tactical things for you to work on. I think sometimes if you feel like, okay, I get it, what do I do? Like, it's still like there's more to the book. So I feel like that really was hammering home your identity, but I want you to continue to tune in. We're super excited to continue to go through the book with you. As always, you can go to ketomomsecrets.com and click on anything you're looking for, or send me a message and I'd love to answer your questions.
Yeah.
So
there it is.
All right. Have a great day. We'll tune in later and give you something that you want. Keto tips and all the things.
Oh, I think we maybe need to change that.
Do you think we should change that?
Because the reality is, like, even with what you just said with the identity aspect, if you don't get it right, you're not going to get anything right. I'm just being very blunt and honest with you.
Yeah.
Because as Americans, which most people here are Americans, it's about like, well, what can I get? What can I have? What can I? It's like me. And what you need is what we're attempting to share with you in regards to who you are.
I will share other things later that you also need.
Yeah. It's the full package.
You don't like the word want. Is that it?
No, I think it's, you know what happens if America could be seen as the most generous country? You know what I mean? Not just self-centered, not just takers, not just out for myself. So just a thought.
Thoughts to come in the future. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Your presence matters. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.